Now we are talking about GUI design and coding, graphical user interface design and coding. Today we are going to talk about the interface design considerations, various standard widgets, the coding standards and guidelines for coding, and what do we mean when we say inspection and walkthrough. Then certain documentation stuff followed by the summary. So what are these important design considerations? Whenever we are designing, we need to be consistent. That means user should be able to generalize knowledge about one part to another. If he is aware of or if he understands one part, then the other part should be self-intuitive. They are so much related. They should be so much consistent or related to each other that once a user works here, he knows what is going to happen for the next option. User should be provided with certain feedback. Also, the possibilities of errors need to be minimized in a good design consideration. If at all some error has occurred, then the recovery from the error should be provided to the user or customer. There are certain skill levels that needs to be seen, right from the name to the more experienced or the specialist. A good design must support multiple skill levels, and also memorization is a criteria because nobody would like to memorize. He is memorizing so many things in life. Now, even if you are automating this thing, you are giving him a software, and he needs to, or you are giving him some options, he need to memorize, and that will not be acceptable. Design should be based on metaphors. That means those words which are used day in daily life, and most common operation should be organized in a way that they are fastest to detect and use. You are aware that certain options are to be clicked every time, are to be written every time, are to be given every time. So these options need to be surfaced and they must be presented and available every time. Coming to widgets, we have discussed widgets earlier also, but let us talk about them now in length. We have different interface programming packages that support various widgets. So these are basically window objects. Widgets are window objects, and there are various widgets which are similar. Some are specialized. So we can think a generic widget which is applicable to most of the interfaces, which can be applied to to various interfaces. What is a label widget? This is the simplest widget. A label widget, it does nothing, just it shows the text. It has no interaction capabilities. It is never sensitive to any kind of mouse movement, mouse hover, mouse drag, mouse click, etc. A label widget, this label widget, is often used as a part of other widgets. It is used as a part of other widgets. Then coming to container widgets, which contains various widgets or components. They do not stand by themselves. They are actually container. If you put a container, it only contains air until you put some water in it or any other liquid or something. Then only it is useful. But they other widgets, they are created as a children of this container widget. This container widget, when it is moved, resized or modified, the children widget, these children widget are associated with this container widget. They also get moved or resized. What about pop-up and pull-down menu? The pop-up menus are transient and they are task specific. Means pop-up means it comes out, it pops up just like popcorn. Pull down, you have a menu, you stretch it, and it will come down. Means it will stretch to some higher value. Means it will show more values now. So they are transient and task specific. This pop-up menu, this menu, whenever you press some mouse button, irrespective of the mouse position, it appears. And these pull down menus, they are quite permanent as I showed you. You have to move the cursor to a specific location and just pull down or drag it down or press, just click and stretch it down. This type of menu. Then comes the dialog boxes. What are these dialog boxes? These dialog boxes, they would help you to select multiple elements from a selection list. A dialog box, there are multiple elements, so you can select. And it remains visible until you dismiss it. There is, for more pertinent ones, you have a cross sign here. So you press and it will be dismissed. This dialog box, this can include areas for entering text as well as value. So you'll have various input values and you press a button for output and the output will be shown here. Then you can have apply command also, means what value you have entered. You can just effect the newly entered value that can be tried out without you dismissing the value. So apply command means you just apply, and those things which are on the background, which are uh, related to this apply, what you have done, what the changes you have done, these changes will be applied here without even closing or dismissing this dialog. This is also a possibility. So most dialog boxes, they ask you for some information, that means your input information. If you want to add two numbers, it will ask for first number, second number, right? But some dialog boxes, they are merely informative. They'll give you some information, some alert of any problem that you have made. So these boxes, they would ask you to just, or they will present you with some information and just want you to click an OK to dismiss the box. What about this push down widget? Push down widget. This contains some keyword or picture. This push down contains some keyword or picture, and this push down widget, it actions, it proposes or it instigates some action. We call it as triggers. So this push button actually, you have seen these buttons. It's a kind of button. You press it, and it immediately works or acts when you press the button, unless it contains an ellipsis, of course. So this push button with this ellipsis, what it contains or what it indicates, that another dialog box is going to appear. Then we have radio buttons like this. Radio buttons. So you select this one or this one. Okay, only one may be selected. So radio button is a hollow circle followed by a text. You can have a you can have male and female. This kind of stuff can be there. So when a radio button is selected, when you select a radio button, it appears fit, and previous selection from the group is unselected. So only one can be selected. If you have various radio button, whichever you select will be selected. Only one radio button, as I just suggested, from the group can be selected at any time and at particular instant of time. So let us have an overview of X window and Motif. This X window is quite popular. It allows development of portable GUIs. Now we have various of system which are allowing all this. And this user interface is device dependent. This is important because X window for window, and they are network dependent also. So it can display a terminal connected anywhere on the network. So we can have network independent GUIs like this. It's just a presentation. I'm trying to display how it can be network dependent. And X window system is actually based on a client server model of computation. So it was adapted or developed by MIT with support from DEC, of course, Digital Equipment Corporation. And it has low-level functions which are written in C language, which can be called as application programs. There are very few interface developers which write programs directly using X Windows library routines. And it also uses high-level functions which are available in X Toolkit, which is built on top of X Windows. Then Motif, this X Toolkit, it also has basic widgets, routines to stitch the widgets together into an interface. And there are various versions available, and most widely used widget sets is OSF and Motif. Then we have Visual Basic, Visual C++, Visual Studio options, Visual Studio components. This visual languages, this you recognize user interface as an important program component. Now people are using C++ and Qt. Qt is for making good graphical user interface. But if you are not willing to combine these two, you can just directly go to C++ or Visual Basic. So this basic and C++, that is visual, it also provides you tools for building this program which are based on they are window-based user interface. These all environments are there. We are working on Windows 10 now, so all these are available now. In this VB and VC, short form is VB and VC, we design widgets such as menu bar, icon, dialog box, etc. from a given choice list, which is a toolbox, and you can just drag them to your program. And these objects are known as resources. They are normally in .rc file. If you have worked with Visual C++, it is in RC file, and you'll see that dialog in front of you, and you can design the shape, location, size, and type of dialog boxes interactively. Before writing any C++ and basic code for the application, you can just make a dialog and just take a button, double click it, and it will make a function for you, and you can write the code there. What about coding phase? We have seen how we can design these components and GUI, but coding is taken once this design phase is complete. The design phase is complete. So during this coding phase, every module identified in this design document is coded and unit tested. What is unit testing? We also know it by name module testing. So testing of different modules, for example, units of a system in isolation. And we have example structured design. This we have already seen how we came to this structured design via structured chart, etc. So unit testing, various beginners would ask why test each module in isolation first. Why can't we just combine them and finally we can test it? And they can also ask that then integrate the modules and again test the set of modules. Why not just test the integrated set of modules once thoroughly? This is an often asked questions. But this is not a good idea to test module in isolation because before they are integrated, it makes debugging easier. Also, there are various various good things about doing test modules testing in isolation because I'm not discussing it in length right now because we will be taking unit testing in later sessions. So unit testing, if an error is detected when several modules are being tested together, then it will be very difficult to determine which module has the error. And if you check each and every module, then you know where the error is. There is one more reason: the modules with which the module needs to be interfaced may not be ready, so you have to use a driver and stubs for that. Then we have integration testing. What it means? Yeah, now you have tested all the modules. You have done the unit testing, the module level testing. Now all these modules are now been coded and unit tested. So we try to combine or we make combination, and wherever they are calling them, each and every modules are integrated. And this should follow some integration plan. Just there is no haphazard way of including or integrating them. There has to be an integration plan. The full products only formulate after all these modules have actually been integrated. And these modules, they are integrated together according to some integration plans. What are these integration plans? It involves integration of the modules through a number of steps. Let us take an example: structure design. So this is root, then it will call get root data, then it will display solution, then some validation of data will be done through get data, right? Then we will compute the solution. This will come later. So this is how it is done. In integration testing, at each step, there are a number of modules which are added to the partially integrated system. And then the system is tested. And all the modules have been integrated. Once it is done and tested, then we come to system testing part. And now we can commence or we can go along with our system testing. What we do in system testing? During system testing, the fully integrated system is tested against the requirements which are recorded in your SRS document. Where? SRS document, software requirement specification document. So the coding part, the input to the coding phase, is actually from the design document. The previous, always in the SDLC, software development lifecycle, the previous phase is feeding the next phase. So the input of coding phase is the design document. And while we are doing this coding, that is during coding phase, these modules which are identified in the design document, they are actually coded according to the specification which are exemplified in your this design phase. So at the end of the design phase, what we have module structure. That is, structure chart which can directly be implemented on the system. And then we have module specification also. That means we have data structures, then data structures and algorithm of each module. So objective of the coding phase is to transform design into code and then unit test the code. There are various coding standards. So a good software development organization, they would require or they try to convince this programmer or make them learn to adhere to some standard style of coding. These are called coding standards, like MISRA coding standard, like JSF. There are various, coding standards which are available. So many software development organizations, they also formulate their own coding standard that would suit their organization. And they also require the engineers to follow these standards rigorously. That will suit their programming style or, working style. So there are certain advantages of adhering to a standard style of coding. First is it gives a uniform appearance to the codes, which is written by different engineers, different people, different style, different intellect. And it also enhances the code understanding. You are aware, everyone is aware of what coding style we are following. And also, good programming practice will be implemented. It encourages that. A good coding standard, it sets out standard ways of doing certain things, several things. First, how the variables are named. I'm just naming a few, how code is laid out, and maximum number of sources lines which are allowed per functions. Then these coding guidelines, they provide general suggestions regarding coding style to be followed, like leave actual implementation of the guidelines to the discretion of individual engineers. This can also happen. So we have seen some GUI, some widgets and coding standards. We'll be talking about this more. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself.